This is a VX9000 made by Sony and released in 1998. It's a prosumer shoulder mount device based on the earlier and extremely popular VX1000. It records DV in SD resolution, meaning 720 by 576 pixels for PAL or 720 by 480 pixels for NTSC at 50 or 60 interlaced frames respectively. This one here is the VX9000E, the E meaning this is a PAL version. The party piece is the 3CCD sensor, which still produces very sharp pictures with good colors. In front of that sensor is a 10 times optical zoom, capable of producing shots like this. The signal is recorded onto full-size DV tapes. That's right, not these ones, but these. Compared to mini DV tapes, which last just 60 minutes in SP mode, these can hold up to 276 minutes, more than 4.5 hours. If you want to buy these tapes, you'll find there's DV and DV cam tapes. Since DV cam runs the tape faster, you'll get approximately 50% more runtime when using these in DV mode. For instance, one of these 60-minute DV cam tapes will let you record 96 minutes of DV. Once you have recorded something, the video can be output via composite, S-video, or losslessly via Firewire. Now, apart from its size, this doesn't look too different from a lot of other camcorders of the era, but there's a reason this is a prosumer device that cost about 6,000 euros new back in 1998. First of all, it's a shoulder mount device, giving it extra stability when recording. Most of the shell is metal, magnesium, which results in a weight of 4.5 kilograms when loaded with tape, battery, shoulder strap and lens hood. The build quality is also really nice. Keep in mind this thing is 25 years old. Apart from the form factor, what stands out the most about this camera is this gigantic control panel taking up the entire left side of the camera. It has physical manual controls for just about every setting you can think of. I'll take you through them section by section. First of all, there's video. There's auto and manual focus along with the push auto option. The manual focus is servo operated, but decently quick. In order to get the exposure right in bright sunlight, the camera has a built-in ND filter here. Moving further back, there's controls for shutter speed, including slow and high speed shutter, gain and white balance. Below is a dial for the iris, ranging from f1.6 to f11 and finally to closed. You'll also have noticed that there's little metal switches next to every one of these controls. These allow you to switch between the manual setting you just input and automatic mode. This is a wonderful tool for learning, since you can focus on one control at a time while the camera handles the rest by itself. There's also an auto lock button which overrides all the other switches and puts the camera into full automatic mode. This can be quite useful if something happens and you're unprepared. Instead of having to adjust every single setting, you can just put the camera into full auto and still get a decent picture. Finally, there's a switch for Sony's Super Steady Shot, an optical image stabilization system. It makes a massive difference, especially when shooting with the camera on your shoulder instead of on a tripod. Here's some test footage I shot with it disabled and enabled. Next up, there's the audio section. The VX9000 has a built-in microphone that's quite decent. It's separated from the main body via a rubber piece so it doesn't pick up any vibrations. Since the rubber bends downwards with age, I've since replaced it with a custom 3D printed part. The inside is lined with felt tape to decouple the microphone from the body like the original piece did. On the back you can adjust the microphone's recording angle. In the event you don't want to use the built-in microphone though, there's a 3.5mm jack right at the base to connect an external one. The rest of the audio controls are scattered around the camera. Firstly, there's a second input in the back. This one uses two Cinch or RCA sockets. Whether these or the built-in microphone is used is selected with this switch here. Next to it is a headphone output for monitoring and the associated volume wheel. Next to the video controls, there's also a few mode selectors, 12-bit or 16-bit audio, 1 or 2 microphone mode, the latter takes one channel of each microphone to form a stereo track, and finally the recording level dials. As usual, there's also a switch to switch between the recording level you selected and an automatic one. That's it for the audio controls. Right in the center is a backlit LCD display, which shows the recording levels, battery level, how much tape is left, and where you are on the tape, plus a few miscellaneous icons. This LCD is of course not used to display video. Contrary to many other cameras which had flip-out LCDs, the VX9000 only has a black and white viewfinder. These were common in most prosumer and virtually all professional video cameras due to their superior resolution and sharpness. With a resolution of 500 TV lines, this one certainly doesn't disappoint. Up top, under this little flap, are the playback and menu controls. They can do the usual stuff such as fast forward and rewind, but what's notable is the option to step through your footage frame by frame. This works forwards but also backwards, which is impressive since it requires rewinding the tape exactly to the beginning of the previous frame and then playing back said frame. With that, we have most of the camera covered, except for power. It uses standard Sony NPF lithium batteries, and even though the time calculations will be off and the manual says otherwise, it also accepts newer info lithium batteries. Those are still plentiful today, so you're not stuck using decade-old batteries. Due to its age, the camera has a rather high power usage of almost 12 watts. If you're going to shoot for an entire day, even the biggest NP F970 batteries won't last long enough. Luckily, Sony has your back. This is an NPA 10000, which was included with the camera, and it's what you could describe as a 3-battery to 1 enator. You can put 3 of the largest batteries in there and then put that onto the camera instead of a single battery. And with that, we've covered all there is to this camera. I'll end the video with some more test footage, and I hope you enjoyed it.